Anna, thanks. We're learning new details about that massive fire we've been covering closely in Franklin County. It happened at a former cereal factory in Orange, and now police have identified 3 suspects they believe are connected to the fire, and all of them are under the age of 15. Western Mass News reporter Lexi Oliver joins us live in studio with more on that. Lexi?
Chris, Orange's police chief tells us they received tips from the public and received a lot of information through an ongoing investigation by local and state authorities. Officials have identified 3 youths between the ages of 12 and 14. I spoke with a woman who lives right behind where the fire started and says she actually knows the suspects.
It was pretty scary. It was.
A pile of rubble now remains after a long-abandoned cereal factory was engulfed in flames this past Saturday. Heavy smoke poured out into the air for hours, the flames eventually spreading to 3 other buildings. Officials telling us more than 20 fire departments responded for mutual aid, working through the night to put out the 5-alarm fire. Michelle lives behind the building and called 911 when she first came outside and saw the fire.
I just stood there and I watched it, and it was intense.
She tells us she was worried some of the debris was going to fly off and hit her house.
The police and firefighters actually came to my house and said, you might want to make a plan because you might have to evacuate.
She tells us she lost power for about 6 hours and then it was disconnected for a couple hours after that. And due to the massive response, she was unable to drive off her street.
I literally had to go around to the next town just to get to Main Street.
She says the town is devastated by the loss of this historic building where scenes from the Stephen King-inspired Hulu series Castle Rock were shot.
It's such a huge void. I grew up here, my whole life, and just driving by earlier, getting gas for work, I looked over and it's different, it's totally different.
Orange police announcing today that 3 juveniles between the ages of 12 and 14 are facing criminal charges in connection with the fire. Michelle telling us she knows the suspects and one of them is best friends with her daughter.
She told me, Mom, I think my friend, his name, did this. And I said, Penny, my daughter's name is Penny. I said, you can't just point fingers, that's not, this is serious, that's not okay. And she said, no, he actually tried to break into that building a couple of nights ago and couldn't get in because it was too dark. And she said he had mentioned that he wanted to go into the building and start a fire.
Orange Police Chief James Sullivan and the State Fire Marshal's office saying it's important for parents to have a conversation with their kids and explain the dangers of fire, saying juvenile fire setting is a serious issue that contributes to dozens of fires each year in Massachusetts. Michelle says she's surprised they would do something like this and is hoping this isn't something that stays with them forever.
So I don't think being so young, they understood the gravity of what would happen. I'm hoping that they're held accountable but lenient, because this particular kid that knows my daughter and stays at my house is a great kid. You know what I mean? Like, big heart, such a good kid. And I would hate to see this completely ruin his life.
The 3 suspects are set to appear in Greenfield Juvenile Court. They're facing arson-related delinquency charges. An arraignment date has not yet been set. Reporting live in studio, Lexi Oliver, Western Mass News.
Lexi, thank you.